Have you ever wanted to give back to the world? If so, just imagine what it'd be like if you started a charity that supported over 120 countries in yearly aid. An organization that serves over 58.4 million meals per year, as well as provides over 10 million nights of shelter to the needy and destitute in America alone per year. The Salvation Army does this and more. From their humble beginnings to their modern expansion of international support, the Salvation Army is salvation for all. With that being said, my name is Nicholas Fonseca, and tonight I will be discussing some key points about the Salvation Army and what they have become. For example, I will be talking about the brief background of the organization, as well as the people they support, how they operate, their major services, and how it is funded. So let me begin with the brief background. The Salvation Army began in 1865 in London, England, when a man named William Booth decided to take his message from God into the streets and leave his comfortable position as a minister in his pulpit. He took that and aided the poor, homeless, hungry, and destitute. As motivation to that, there were complications with the well-to-do churchgoers, and from that, with the irregular churchgoers, and from that, William Booth decided to start his own church for the irregular churchgoers that were, most of whom were either poor, homeless, shabbily dressed, unwashed people. And since then, he's been able to positively impact the world and help millions and grow his organization into an international support charity organization. Yes. Now that I've given you a brief background of the organization, let me go ahead and tell you about how it operates and the people they serve. The Salvation Army is structured in a quasi-military fashion, through which they provide spiritual, economic, and health support all around the world. The charity is run by over 1,150,000 soldiers, as well as 26,000 officers, 108,000 employees, over 15,000 core members, as well as 169,000 volunteer/members. Now that I've gone over the fundamentals of the Salvation Army and the people they serve, let me provide you with some examples of their major services and as well how the organization is funded. The Salvation Army is recognized for many services, but the most outstanding is their humanitarian work and their disaster relief. Salvation Army Emergency Disaster Services respond with first responders, meaning they aid the fire department, police, and EMT services when they need help for a more massive emergency, such as Hurricane Katrina, the Indonesian tsunami disaster, as well as even the September 11th devastating terrorism attack. And they will come into an area that needs relief, and they will support them by bringing in water bottles, food trucks, blankets, temporary hospitals, first aid, anything they can do to help reestablish, reorganize, and support a disaster-stricken community. Now let's talk about how the Salvation Army makes these efforts possible and how it is funded. The Salvation Army is one of the nation's leading organizations in the United States when it comes to distributing, collecting, sorting donated goods. For example, when a disaster happens, the Salvation Army will come in and provide support by even setting up giant donating warehouses where people can come and drop off cleaning supplies, anywhere to cans, cooking supplies, industrial to household items, anything that can help the disaster. As well as you could also donate in your local community for every, because there is an organization, there is a shelter within every U.S. zip code. And that is either done through donations or also as well as government funding. And on top of that, every 80 cents out of every dollar spent from the Salvation Army is directly given to directly serves humanitarian services. So before I take your questions, I'd like to go over and remind you of the main points that I presented today. The brief background of the Salvation Army and how it began in 1865 in England from William Booth, as well as the destitute and needy people they serve. There's their major services such as disaster relief, and as well as they're funded through donations and government funding. So, that being said, do you still think that you can match the scale of aid that the Salvation Army provides every day of every year? If so, that means you'd be operating in an organization that is within every U.S. postal code and assists over 120 countries and does it without any discrimination. Salvation Army will continue to lead the way, doing good for most for over 150 years to come. Feeding, serving, sheltering, uplifting, and saving those in need, and as well as others around us. So, we give thanks to the millions that serve the Salvation Army, the army that serves us. Now I will take your questions. Thank you.